Let's talk about commercial factoring due diligence and financial statements. Most commercial factors will ask prospects to provide financial statements as part of their application process and due diligence package. Some will make an exception for smaller companies or will ask for bank statements in lieu of financial statements. But all in all, asking for financial statements is fairly common in the commercial factoring industry. What is also fairly common is that many prospects usually object to providing this information. This creates an interesting tug of war between the commercial factor that wants to take on new customers while being careful and prospects that want to maximize their chances of financing by disclosing the least possible amount of information. The most common explanation from prospects are the following. For example, we don't have financials. This explanation will lead most commercial factors to run, because the first question that comes to my mind, for example, is how do they know that they have a financial problem if they don't have financial reports? How do they know that there's a problem stems from slow paying invoices? Nowadays, you can buy very inexpensive software that is easy to use and will generate all needed financial statements, so not having them is no longer an option. They're buying invoices. Why do they need to see financials? Commercial factors need to see financials to make sure that the company is not at risk of going into bankruptcy or into any other event that could prevent the factor from collecting on the invoice. Yes, this happens. You see, even though commercial factors buy your invoice, an invoice is really just a piece of paper, or sometimes even an email. The purchase happens actually when they advance funds to your company and secure the collateral by filing a UCC lien. However, there are many things that could trump this, which is why commercial factors care about the financial health of your company and need to see your financials. Our financials are not up to date. They're 6, 9, or 12 months behind. This is just a variant of the good old "we don't have financials" excuse, and the question remains the same. If your financials are not up to date, how do you know that you have financial problems? And how do you know the factoring will help you? I refuse to provide my financial statements. Whenever a due diligence officer hears this explanation, it produces a huge red flag for them. Many take this statement to mean that the prospect has something to hide. While this is probably not always the case, since many potential clients may just want to have privacy, they have a point to think like this. From their perspective, here's a company that wants factoring but is refusing to provide critical information about itself. Ask yourself this: would you provide funding to a company that did not disclose information about itself? One last point. When a commercial factoring company asks you for financial statements, they are evaluating more than just the statements. They are evaluating whether you run a business that is well managed and keeps careful track of their finances. This is very important, and in some cases it may be even more important than the numbers in the actual financial statements themselves. So next time a commercial factor asks you for financial statements, think about these questions and what impression it makes on the factor when you refuse to provide them.